requires great determination, sincerity, and awareness. In 11th canto of the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, the Supreme Personality of Godhead tells Sri Uddhava, says, "My dear Uddhava, the Supreme Lord gives life to every living being and is situated within the heart along with the life air and primal sound vibration. The Lord can be perceived in his subtle form within the heart of one's mind. Since the Lord controls the minds of everyone, even great demigods like Lord Shiva, the Supreme Lord also assumes a gross form as the various sounds of the Vedas, composed of short and long vowels and consonants of different intonations." In this section of the Bhagavatam, Krishna is instructing Uddhava, and he mentions about, or at least in the commentaries, our acharyas mention the mechanism of the human body. And there are different energy centers. And at the base of the spine is the Muladhara chakra. And there's a kind of vibration there called paravak, which is known to be the vibration of the soul. In other words, there's nobody home and nothing happening unless the soul's there in the body. And just above that, below the navel, is the Manipur chakra, which is where the desire of the soul, or the vibration of the soul, becomes manifest as Pashyantivak, or an idea manifests. There's desire, base desire, and then at the base there's desire, and then there's an awakening of a thought. And then the next chakra is in the heart called the Anahata chakra. And there's a kind of vibration there called Madhyamavak, where the mind then expands the possibilities for that desire. There's a subtle idea of how to interact with the world in a certain way. And each one of these has its own Shakti. At the level of Pashyantivak, there's Icha Shakti, the power of desire. And above that, in the Madhyamavak, when the mind expands, the possibilities for enjoyment is called Jnana Shakti, when you're able to conceive of it and contemplate it. And then in the throat area is called the Vishuddhi chakra, where there is what is called Vaikarivak. It's where you verbalize your desire. In other words, it starts in a very subtle way, and then it manifests as a thought, and then you verbalize it. And at that level, there's what's called Kriya Shakti, the power to make something happen. That's why whatever we manifest in the world, it starts as a subtle an inkling, and then it becomes grossified, and then we speak it. And so whatever we're saying has an implication in the world. And this has great implication for our chanting, because as we've created our situation in the world by desire and then verbalizing it, even Brahma creates the whole world in his duty of creation by speaking through mantra, and then the various algorithms take place that form the elements of the world. And so when we're chanting Hare Krishna, we can actually reverse the process of material creation. As we've created whatever situation we're in right now, and if you'd like to have an undo button, would you like that? Yeah, well now you have it, Hare Krishna. You want to undo all the mistakes due to errant desire manifested in your life. You push the undo button. A few notes on that. We first chant on the level of gross speech. We call lip service. Vikari Vak, Namaparad, And then maybe on the intellectual level we chant. And after prolonged chanting, we also chant within the mind and the intellect, and then at the level of the soul. So the awareness that Krishna mentions here, and the acharyas talk about how everything manifests from sound, the transformation of sound vibration. It all starts with us as living beings, parts and parcels of Krishna. There's one other mechanical aspect that's not from the Bhagavatam, but it's from the Psychology of Patañjali Muṇi. I find it helpful because he's defined the states of mind that we can be in. Here are the 5 that he lists. Dull, which is in tamas. And then there's wandering, which is rajas. Then distracted, which is sattva-rajas. And there's one-pointed, which is sattva. And finally, it's called nirguṇa, above the guṇas. So, there you have it. A few thoughts about how everything's manifesting in our lives. It's coming from us. One may say, I don't like my situation, then just say, undo it. Reverse the process. Use transcendental sound and be aware of how you're manifesting whatever you have in the world, and take help from Bhagavad Gītā and Śrīmad Bhāgavatam to understand how to properly point your desires towards your highest interest. Any comment? Yes.
I was just thinking, when you were mentioning Patanjali Muni's different before then you were speaking about chanting on the platform of the soul. First it begins at Namaparad, and then there's an intellectual chanting, and then there's chanting on the level of the soul. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur speaks about how if one wants to come to the point of chanting on the level of Shuddhanam, there's 2 qualities which are required, which is repentance and constant chanting. Nirantara is what he says. So I was thinking that for Nirantara to take place, there has to be this breakthrough to chanting on the level of the soul. And the attitude which allows that breakthrough to happen is a deep feeling of repentance, that I want to undo this.
Very important. We read about it last night also from the Chaitanya Shikshamrita, that all progress starts with humility. One has to be very humble, which is an element of repentance also, or vice versa. Anything else? Comment, reflection, question, and then we'll resume chanting. Yes.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. It's very helpful to know the details, like how it manifests from the very subtle level, and how it comes to the gross level. Finally, it manifests into the world. That creates a lot of understanding, like how we have to carefully use our thoughts as well from the very subtle level. It's very helpful to know.
Thank you. It's good to know that the mind has different states, and if we're aware of what state of mind we're in, if we notice that we're distracted, we may know that there's rajas and tamas. And if we know when we realize a position of being one-pointed, we may know that sattva is there. But then, of course, there's a point of transcendence where there's complete absorption in the holy name. So that means if we're aware of it, we can also adjust our lifestyle and notice what may be affecting us and how tamas and rajas are affecting. So let people feel frustrated. They chant, they say, all I hear is the chatter of my mind, and I'm distracted. Well, that can be remedied. It's not hopeless. It's not that you're just born and you can't chant, but you can make adjustments. That's the nice thing about being a human. Thank you very much for your consideration. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna. It's a very clear doctrine. Everything's encompassed within the holy name. There's one object of meditation, and that's the holy name. The form, the pastimes, the qualities are all in the name. So one needn't deviate one's mind anywhere else. Even within the Gayatri mantras, we find a series of names. So God's in His name, Nam Nam Akari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shakti, and all the Shakti is there. And the more we are able to take advantage of that, approaching Krishna with great humility, Trinadapi Sunichena, and to give our focus to the name, pronouncing the name, hearing the name, giving our minds to the name, giving our hearts to the name, serving the name, distributing the name, the more we'll feel happy. Otherwise, there is no happiness in the world. It's just a maelstrom. We're in a whirlpool of the mind being tossed every direction and full of anxiety. But there's relief, not just relief, but total bliss within the holy name. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Shri Panchatattva, Sri Haridas Thakur. If you so desire, please give us strength of heart and clear understanding that the holy name is everything, and by giving ourselves in service to the holy name, body, mind, words, it will please you and will be perfectly situated anywhere we go. Thank you for considering our request. Om Tat Sat. Everyone who would like to sign on to this prayer, in whole or in part, please say Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Panchakalpadurvishya kripasindabevacha patitanam pavnibhyo vishnavebhyo namo namaha.